And I think about him during this time when we're all so worried and scared about what the future of performing arts might look like and what spaces will be left. And I hang on to that image and that gift he gave me.
The Theatre Curation Project was born in the spirit of stewardship over the art, craft, and history of the theatre. Its purpose is to curate these stories of our mentors and what they passed on to us to be a resource for future generations. Its goal is to preserve these stories and the lessons within them from being lost forever.
Hi, my name's Raoul Bhaneja. I'm an actor in the theatre, television, and film. I'm a graduate of the National Theatre School of Canada. My mentor is a great director by the name of Paul Thompson. I have to declare my conflict of interest. Paul gave me my first job, my first professional job out of theatre school when I went to the Blythe Festival in 1996 to perform in a play called a collective creation called Barn Dance Live. We lived in the community, interviewed country musicians who had performed on the great CKNX barn dance in the decades and decades before, and then we presented the show to them and their community 6 weeks later. It was an eye-opening experience, and I think one thing I learned from him in that production and that whole process of working in collective theater was that a character you play, whether it's fictional or real, needs to be invested with that same level of intent, honesty, and passion. That you have to almost believe, no matter what character you're playing, that maybe they'll be sitting in the audience one night watching you, and will you have done them justice? Secondly, Paul, many years later, came to see a dress rehearsal of Hamlet Solo, which was a solo Hamlet at the time I was developing. It was 2006. We were in the backspace of Theatre Passe Muraille. And he came and he gave me one of the best notes we ever got on the show. Now, he hadn't directed the show. My friend Robert Ross Parker, longtime collaborator, and I had worked for years on it. We'd been developing it. And he came and he watched it and was complimentary, but he said, you know, I think in Act 5, you're missing something. And we said, what, Act 5 of Hamlet? It's so important. And he said, lightness. And in that moment, my head exploded because I realized one of the challenges I was having with that whole act is that Hamlet was sort of sensing his impending doom, and it was just crap. And I realized through his great note that Hamlet has a lightness about him because he's prepared for the end. The readiness is all genius. Around the same time, I was talking to Paul, and I was frustrated as a producer that Passe Muraille and other institutions, but particularly Passe Muraille, hadn't really done more for me. They'd given me a deal on the space. I managed to get some grant money, but I was upset and frustrated that I hadn't been put into the season. Here I was, this young, ethnic actor putting on this play, and no one really cared. And I said to him, I just wish that Theatre Passe Muraille had helped me more. And he looked at me and he said, well, if you don't like it here, burn it down. And I said, what? He said, no, if you don't like it, it's just a building. Burn it down. Start a new one. Start your own thing. And I remember thinking in that moment, wow, he's telling me as the next generation that if it doesn't work, start over, burn it down, do it all over again. And this is from a guy who had spent a decade building this place, who'd run Theatre Passe Muraille through some of its most successful periods, directed incredible collective creations there. It had helped him ascend to the Director General of the National Theatre School, to the Order of Canada, to the Governor General's Performing Arts Award. And in that moment, he was able to say, if it doesn't work for you, tear it down and build your own thing. And in that moment, I was struck by his conviction, his belief in the future generation, and a reminder of what courage it takes to move forward, and that really it's not about the building. It's not about the roof and the stairs and the stage. It's about the people and the art that happens inside it. That has to be our number one priority. And I think about him during this time when we're all so worried and scared about what the future of performing arts might look like and what spaces will be left. And I hang on to that image and that gift he gave me of a belief in the people and the stuff of the theater that we make. Thank you, Paul Thompson.
Please subscribe to our Theatre Curation Project YouTube channel to see previous installments and hit the notification bell to be alerted when a new story has been posted.